Okay, admittedly, I wanted to get this video up in about early October, but between scheduling, school, other commitments, it just never really worked out that way. So I'm bringing it to you now, and I think it's actually a bit more fitting now than it would be then. We are getting to the end of the NCAA season, which for draft nuts like myself is a good time. Not that I don't like college football, but I look at college football from a draft scouting perspective for those of you that have tuned in before. So, given that it's November, given that it's almost December, we're almost ready for bowl season, and the NFL is shaping up that we pretty much know who needs what for next year. Why don't we start with the most important position on the field, the quarterbacks? So in this is going to be top five quarterbacks that I've watched, countless hours of film on. I have a general rule before making a top five. One, this is purely based off of what I've seen. If someone like a Mike Mayock or Daniel Jeremiah has, player at number one in the position, but I don't see the buzz, they don't stay number one on mine. This is based off of what I've seen with my own two eyes from watching their film. Now, quarterback, watch a minimum of 3 games per prospect. And I like to try to mix it up by having one game against a good player, or sorry, against a good defense, one game against a bad defense, and one against a middle of the road defense. That way I can fully see whether or not it's translatable, because I don't want to see them beating the crap out of a really shit defense and being able to do nothing against the other two. But this year with quarterbacks, for most of them, I've watched at least 3. Some of them I've watched upwards of about 5, and Christian Hackenberg I've watched a lot of because his tape became available really early. So without further ado, these are the top 5 quarterbacks that I have scouted so far. And let's start off at the top. This is not me being a homer just because I'm a Cal Bears fan, but it is Jared Goff. Now, part of me doesn't even want to put Jared Goff at number one, but I kind of have to because not because of the Cal part, because he's honestly the best there is. Yeah, he struggled against some of the Pac-12 defenses, which aren't very good, but he really doesn't have anything else around him. Cal completely runs through him. We saw the 4-0 or 5-0 start, and yeah, we got ranked in the top 25. We didn't deserve to sniff the top 25. Um, it's a really weak team. He's got no receivers, really no line, and he's got no running game. Cal's success this year has been entirely because of Jared Goff, but I do like the traits that he shows. He's got a really good delivery, really strong arm, doesn't really shy away from the pressure like some of these other quarterbacks do. Um, Looking at his stats right here, let me just pull them up. He is uh, Jared Goff is 6'4" and 210, so he's a little bit undersized. If he could get up to about 220 without losing some of his athleticism, I think he's really set. I haven't really been able to compare his game to anyone yet, but I think probably with another game or two, I could probably be able to figure out who he reminds me of most. There just isn't one that comes, directly to mind. I think the closest I would say would probably be a Matt Ryan, but I think he's not as good of a prospect as Matt Ryan was coming out. But yeah, Matt Ryan would be what I would compare Jared Goff to at this time. Number 2, we go to Michigan State for Connor Cook. Now, Connor Cook is someone where you really either you love him or you hate him. There's really no in between. And by that I mean like he's either seen in like first overall slots or he's seen at second round, mid second round, third round. He doesn't have a very strong arm. He comes from a power run system, kind of falters against even a four-man rush, but again, he's got the leadership, he's got the record, and he just wins. He's a good game manager. Honestly, the comparison to him is just this is gonna sound lazy because they both went to Michigan State, but if you watch the tape, they're very, very similar. He reminds me a lot of like Brian Hoyer and Kirk Cousins, the quarterbacks that, well, went to Michigan State before him. Nothing that's gonna wow you, but just all around has what it takes to win a damn game. Honestly, with Goff, Goff is a top 10 prospect to me. I haven't pulled up my big board yet. Uh, I have it made. I just don't have it pulled up. He's top 10. Cook is still a first round pick for me, but I think he's in around more mid first round. Nothing really stands out, but again, if I want a quarterback and all I need, if I'm a run first team with a good quarterback or with a good running back, sorry, that has a really crap quarterback, just get Connor Cook. Win some games. Third, we go to Memphis, and it's Paxton Lynch. Now, Paxton Lynch came out of nowhere. I hadn't heard of this kid until September. Literally, I did not hear about him until he was already leading Memphis to an undefeated season, and I think it was in around Ole Miss that I finally started hearing about this kid, and I am glad I did. He's got size for days, 6'7", athletic, strong arm, everything you would want. Kind of reminds me of a guy I was high on in 2012, being Brock Osweiler. Uh, yeah, they're both like 6'7", 6'8", but they're not that Ryan Mallett just statuesque shit, can't move type of quarterback. They're athletic too. Lynch is a very good quarterback, a very solid prospect. I wouldn't be surprised if if over the course of the draft process he bumps himself more up into that, top 10 range. Right now I've got him in around 22 or so on my big board, so kind of that borderline first rounder. Just a solid prospect. I look really forward to seeing more from him. I hope he doesn't kind of fault under the pressure. Speaking of faulting under the pressure, we go to my number 4 quarterback. Remember Christian Hackenberg? I do. Now, I started watching film on Hackenberg probably in around when last year's draft happened, because by the time the draft comes along, I'm pretty bored of watching the same prospects over and over and over again. Because what I've seen on tape is pretty much what the guy is. Like, nothing, watching tape days before the draft is not really going to change any opinions. You either know the guy or you don't. Uh, so I started watching Christian Hackenberg, and the first 3 games I watched of his were against uh, what was it? Purdue, Akron, UMass, and Temple. So that's 4 games I watched within a week of the draft. So his draft breakdown had like 14 videos on him or something like that. Damn, I didn't see anything impressive on any of them. I know Temple has a good defense, and they picked him off 3 times. But I watched Purdue pick him off 3 times. I watched UMass pick him off 2 times. I watched Akron pick him off 4 times. Could have had 7. His ball placement is terrible. His What is intriguing about him? He's only in my top 5 because, well, really, there aren't really a lot of quarterback prospects where I can get a lot of game footage. There are guys that I would probably rank ahead of Hackenberg, but I've only seen 1 or 2 games, which is really disappointing. But if you get him in the right system, I know he had a good first year with Bill O'Brien when he was a freshman, but that's it. Like, I have a feeling unless he's in that system and that system only, that's what you're gonna get from him. You're just gonna get terrible decision making, and within 2 years you're gonna find yourself picking another first round quarterback. I wouldn't put Christian Hackenberg fell completely out of my top 32. And if I had to make probably a top 100 board, that's probably where you'd find him. I wouldn't touch Christian Hackenberg before round 3. Now, my number 5 quarterback, I would draft before round 3, but again, I haven't seen 3 games on him yet. Well, I've seen 3 games on him. The competition wasn't as great as I was hoping for. I can only go with what's available. Um, that's Jacoby Brissett from North Carolina State. the former Florida, starter, transferred to NC State. Honestly, he's a really solid all-around quarterback. He's got a lot of tools to him. He's athletic. He's a little bit bigger. He's not like Cam Newton big, but he is a larger quarterback with some mobility. And he's got a pretty decent arm. Again, he just doesn't have the weapons around him. If he had some better players around him, who knows? But from what I've seen right now from Jacoby Brissett, I would probably slap like a mid-second round grade. I wouldn't be surprised if he even gets drafted late first, early second round, because there are going to be a lot of quarterback needy teams. Philly, but he kind of actually, you know what? Now that I mentioned Philly, I do see a lot of Donovan McNabb in his game. He's a bigger quarterback who's very comfortable in the pocket, but can run as well. Um, yeah, he's because he's. I was gonna, people hear comfortable pocket passer who can run, and right now everyone thinks Tyrod Taylor, but Tyrod Taylor is like 5'11". Jacoby Brissett's like 6'3", 6'4", and like 230. So yeah, I see a lot of Donovan McNabb in his game, and that actually kind of gets my hopes up because I was a big Donovan McNabb fan. I still am, at least until he left Philly. But yeah, I see a lot of promise in this quarterback class so far, and there are some names on here that man, I really can't wait to dive in and watch more of. Like really love Brandon Doty out of Western Kentucky. I really like watching tape on not Cardale Jones. No, not Cardale Jones at all. There's that kid from UMass. I'm probably fucking up how to say his name. Frenafel? I have no idea. Yeah, there are some pretty decent quarterback prospects. I would probably say if you throw in someone like a Cardale Jones, you could get 8 or 9 draftable quarterbacks. I mean, that's more than you can say about last year. It's just an overall solid class, and you know what? Christian Hackenberg is probably the one quarterback that I just don't see any attraction to, and I'd rather see, the attention go to someone who actually has a future, like a Brandon Doty, but no one really likes Doty because he's 24 and from Western Kentucky. Anyways, I'm gonna end this here because I've now been rambling for several minutes. Um, so yeah, you know what? If you're new to the channel, want to check out some draft videos, I'm trying to get them up pretty soon. I should have some more content for you guys after about December 10th or 11th, because that's when I'm done my exams. And basically, you can expect some regular content, over the Christmas break and probably during, you know, decent intervals after that. But I just really wanted to get my first draft video of the year out of the way, or for draft video of the season out of the way. And so yeah, if you're new, subscribe, leave me some feedback, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. If you like Christian Hackenberg, well, I'm sorry, he needs to impress me more.